Hello, students. Uh, today's question is, what relationship will be established to study inventory turnover, debtor turnover, payable turnover, working capital turnover? This is the solution. Inventory turnover ratio. This ratio is computed to determine the efficiency with which the stock is used. This ratio is based on the relationship between cost of goods sold and average stock kept during the year. ठीक है, this ratio is based on the relationship between cost of goods sold and average stock. Now this is the formula. Inventory or stock turnover ratio, inventory turnover or stock turnover, same, equal to cost of goods sold upon average stock. Cost of goods sold equal to opening stock plus purchases plus direct expenses minus closing stock, or cost of goods sold equal to net sales minus gross profit. This is two options for you. First is opening stock plus purchases plus direct expenses minus closing stock, and next is cost of goods sold equal to net sales minus gross profit. And now average stock equal to opening stock plus closing stock divided by 2. Okay, the next formula is debtor turnover ratio. Debtor turnover ratio, this ratio is computed to determine the rate at which the amount is collected from the debtors. It establishes the relationship between net credit sales and average account receivable. This ratio is computed to determine the rate at which the amount is collected from the debtors and establishes the relationship between net credit sales and average account receivable or debtors. Okay, relationship between net credit sales and debtors or credit sales and average account receivables. Okay, debtors turnover ratio equal to net credit sales upon average account receivable. Net credit sales equal to total sales minus cash sales, and average account receivable equal to opening debtors plus closing debtors. Okay, or opening bills receivable plus closing bills receivable divided by 2. The next one is payable turnover ratio. This ratio is known as creditors turnover ratio. It is computed to determine the rate at which the amount is paid to the creditors. It is computed to determine the rate at which the amount is paid to the creditors. It establishes the relationship between net credit purchases and average accounts payable. Payable turnover ratio equal to net credit purchases upon average account payable. Net credit purchases equal to total purchases minus cash purchases. Average account payable equal to opening creditors plus opening bills payable. Only opening creditors plus closing creditors upon 2, or opening creditors plus opening bills payable plus opening creditors plus opening bills payable divided by 2. Next, working capital turnover ratio. This ratio is computed to determine how efficiently the working capital is utilized in making sales. How efficiently the working capital is utilized to making sales. It establishes the relationship between net sales and working capital. The formula is working capital turnover ratio equal to net sales upon working capital, and net sales equal to total sales minus sales return. Working capital equal to current assets minus current liabilities. The next question is, how would you study the solvency position of the firm? Solvency position of a firm is studied with the help of solvency ratios. Solvency ratios are measured of the long-term financial position of the firm. Solvency ratios are measures of long-term financial position of the firm in terms of its ability to pay its long-term liabilities. In other words, the solvency of the firm is measured by its ability to pay its long-term obligations on the due date. The long-term obligations include payments of principal amount on the due date and payment of interest on the regular basis. Long-term solvency of any business can be calculated on the basis of the following ratios. The first one is debt equity ratio. It depicts the relationship between the borrowed fund and owner funds. The lower the debt equity ratio, higher will be the degree of security of the lender. A low debt equity ratio implies that the company can easily meet its long-term obligations. The formula is debt equity ratio equal to long term debts upon equity shareholder funds. Equity are the shareholder funds including preference shares, capital, equity share capital, capital reserve, security premiums, general reserve, less accumulated losses, and fictitious assets, that is uh, preliminary expenses. The next formula is total assets to the debt ratio. It shows the relationship between the total assets and the long term loans. A high total assets to debt ratio implies that more assets are financed by the owner's funds and the company can easily meet its long-term obligations. Thus, a higher ratio implies more security to the lender. The total assets to debt ratio equal to total assets upon long-term debts. Total assets includes all fixed and current assets except fictitious assets like preliminary expenses, underwriting commission, etc. Debt includes all long-term loans that are to be repaid after 1 year. It includes debentures, mortgages, loans, bank loans, loans from other financial institutions, etc. Next is interest coverage ratio. This ratio depicts the relationship between amount of profit utilized for paying interest and amount of interest payable. A high interest coverage ratio implies that the company can easily meet all its interest obligation out of its profit. Interest coverage ratio equal to net profit before interest and tax upon interest on long-term loans. The next is proprietary ratio. It shows the relationship between the shareholder funds and the total assets. This ratio reveals the financial position of a business. The higher the ratio, the higher will be the degree of safety of the creditors. It is calculated as proprietary ratio, shareholder funds upon total assets, or equity upon total assets. Total assets includes all fixed and current assets except fictitious assets like preliminary expenses and underwriting commission.